All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are joined by Celestino Ruiz, and you are a referee, correct?
That's right.
If you could just get a little closer to the mic, it would be so much better.
So, can you hear me now?
Yeah,
yes.
Beautiful. So,
good.
Are you a referee only in Nevada, or do you go to other states? Do you travel, or how does that work?
Well, I started off in Illinois, Chicago,
Okay.
Illinois, and I've refereed pretty much all over.
Oh, wow, Chicago. That's where my
That's
co-host
right.
is from.
Chicago Cubs, baby.
Uh-oh.
So,
Danny, how do you feel about the Cubs? I know you watch other sports.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the Cubs, but it is what it is.
we got one thing in common, probably. We're both Bear fans, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're good then.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, I started off in Illinois, and I've done fights Oklahoma, Minnesota, pretty much.
Wait, Oklahoma, that's near Terrence Way, right?
Nah,
No,
that's
he's
in
Nebraska.
Nebraska. He's Nebraska. Oklahoma's near Tulsa, Jeremiah, right?
Tulsa's in Oklahoma, champ.
Yeah.
I could tell you didn't pay attention in school.
Nah,
New
not
Jersey
for the, not
public
for the
school
globe.
system. It's all
Not
good.
for the globe. We just use Google these days.
But yeah, so and so what brought you to Vegas?
Well, what brought me to Vegas is they gave me an opportunity to come here and work, and man, it's an honor to be working with a lot of world-class officials here, and I feel blessed.
An opportunity. When was this?
I would say, when we were in the pandemic in 2020, we were doing fights in the bubble, and when they gave me the opportunity, they says, "Hey, man, we're interested in you, and I'm here to stay now."
And when you say they, you're saying Top Rank? Because they're
no,
the ones
no,
that had
no.
a bubble.
No, top ranking got nothing to do with me being here.
Oh, you mean
the commission,
Nevada?
Nevada Commission.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, nice.
Yeah. So.
All right. Why you laugh? Like the
'Cause
promoters don't choose the officials.
I'm saying why would the promoter offer him a job?
I mean, maybe they wanted an in-house referee. I don't know. Shit. I mean, if they can offer you consistent work. At the end of the day, the commission isn't the one that gives you the job, right? Because
Yes.
the promoter has to agree to you, though. The commission
Rick-
could offer you up to me all I want. If I don't want you as a ref, I don't want you as
And
a ref.
that's a situation the commission and the promoters they fight over.
Exactly.
And sometimes the commission
Even the A
overrules.
side and the B side get to choose. They're like, oh, I don't want
Well,
him.
apparently that's not always the case because he just said that sometimes the commission overrules.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
It ain't gonna happen on an A side. They ain't gonna overrule a Canelo, Floyd, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? Those guys
You'd be
bring
surprised.
economics.
You'll be surprised. I don't know. Yeah, the commission they if they're not interested, they're not just gonna lay up there and say, hey, because I'm a promoter, I want this official, this official. It doesn't work like that, man.
So how long have you been refereeing?
I was 13, 14 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What would you say is? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask what originally got you into being a referee.
Well, I started off as a amateur boxer,
Okay.
and I said to myself, I have over 100 amateur boxing fights,
Wow.
and
You had
That-
over 100
amateur fights, yes.
and you didn't turn pro.
I didn't turn pro, got married, and the wife says, this ain't for you.
And
So was it not for you, or
Well, I would say, she did, my ex-wife didn't want to see me
Get hurt.
get hurt and stuff like that.
But
and
I'm
she was
saying
expecting-
like looking back on it, right?
Yeah.
Were you good enough to make it in the pros?
Oh, of course. I would have been a good pro fighter, but it wasn't the time.
Born and raised in Puerto Rico?
No, I was born and raised in Chicago.
Oh yeah,
but
you said that. Fuck.
my parents are from Puerto Rico.
Yeah, because I feel like I can see the Latino in you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then like I said, I started off as an amateur fighter. and then-
Educate me really quick because I got into it with somebody. Where do the Puerto Ricans live in Chicago?
Where do they live in Chicago? I mean,
Because Chicago's a very segregated city.
yeah,
So I'm sure there's like a Puerto Rican neighborhood.
there is.
So-
Humble Park.
Humble Park.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had
Humble Park, Logan Square. That's
So I had last time I went to the doctor, the doctor was arguing me, swearing that I was from Humble Park because I'm a Mexican. and I really wanted to smack him.
Whoa.
I'm like, I don't even know where the fuck Humboldt Park is. Truth be told, you know, Chicago.
And you're from Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago's a big city though.
And you don't know what Humboldt Park
Nah,
is?
but
How long were you in Chicago for?
Shit, all my life, 18 years.
And you don't know Humboldt Park?
I mean,
All
I
my
know
life,
the name.
18 years.
I know the name, but it's like you don't go to hoods you're not from. Like that's not a thing. So
I mean, if you're Mexican, I'm pretty sure you grew up in Pilsen, right?
Absolutely not.
Oh, no, you didn't grow up in
Absolutely not. I grew up on the south side on 83rd and South Shore Drive.
Okay.
So there was Mexicans, but it's like literally Mexicans like 2 blocks away, but you don't really grow up with them because you learn to stay on your side of the tracks.
Pretty much, yeah. That's
You
how
know.
it is in Chicago.
So would Humboldt Park probably like on the north side?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
North side.
Never. I had zero business on the north side. Like I would never go to the north side, you know.
Oh.
I was just curious because I really never knew. And after that, I didn't really, like, it pissed me off, so I didn't really care to look into it because I'm like, bro, he kept swearing. He's like, yeah, you got to be from. I'm like, no, I'm not even Puerto Rican. I'm like, Pilsen, Mexicans are known for, but I'm like, what is Humboldt Park? I didn't know what part of town that was on. It was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, so you don't turn pro. How long after you stopped boxing as an amateur did you get into possibly, well, you said judging?
I started off as a judge, yes.
So how long after you stopped boxing did you start off as a judge?
I would say 5 years after not competing. Wow. And then I decided, I still had the love for the game. And I says, you know what, since I'm, I can't get back in it, physically, let me go back in there and make a little change in it as an official. Because I got tired of the bad decisions, So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to make a difference. So I went in there as a judge. And then worked my way into the refereeing. What happened was I was working the Golden Gloves one day as a judge. I was the odd man out on the judging aspect. And there was a referee, I won't even mention his name. He was always on my way. And therefore, I called the fight for what I saw. And I was the odd man out on that fight. And I had a word with the referee. I said, hey, man, you need to move, man. I says, I was off on that fight because your butt was in my way. And, you need to start moving. And he was like, well, I'd like to see your ass get up in the ring and become a referee. And that was it. Start going to the gym. I started working sparring sessions with the kids and did these little park district shows with the little kids. And I just kept moving on. And sky's the limit from there, man.
Amazing.
How long?
So now is this your full-time job?
I retired from Chicago. I work for the city over there in Chicago, and right now this is just something I do now for
pastime.
Yeah.
Nice, man. That's.
I mean, people will say, "Is it a hobby?" I says, "Nah, it's not a
passion.
It's a passion, and when you got two people's life in your hand, it's not a hobby, man.
At all."
What has been the most difficult call you've had to make as a referee?
It's funny that you say that. I'm pretty sure you guys saw the fight that just happened on Showtime the other day where the referee got blasted for prematurely stopping the fight.
The Russell-Barthelemy fight?
Yes. So you honestly thought that was prematurely stopped?
Fuck yeah, man.
Oh, man. Listen, man, I had a fight just like that. I would say many years back, and the guy
Celestino,
got up.
Are we on the right fight? Are you sure you have the right fight, though?
We're on the right fight.
With Gary Antoine Russell,
yes.
It just happened Saturday.
Yeah. Correct. With Russell-Barthelemy.
Correct. But let me explain something to you, and I'm gonna give you another referee that did almost the same thing too. But let me tell you what happened to me. I did the same thing where the guy hit the floor on the second round. Okay, and I even heard the 10-second, and I gave him the count, the mandatory 8 count, and I looked at his eyes. And when I looked at his eyes, I saw both his eyes jumping, and I was like, "Holy crap!" I stopped the fight. I was criticized by his parents, by his coaches, and I accepted it because that's part of the business, and I was like, wow, I can't believe that, these people are criticizing me. What I learned from that fight was I should have had said to the commission, have the doctor check him out and probably take him for a CAT scan or something like that. That didn't happen because I learned from that. Anyhow, to make a long story short, the kid comes back after his 30-day suspension, and he fought. I'm not going to tell you where because it's something that I don't like to bring up. And the kid got hurt, and the kid passed away in the ring.
The same kid that you stopped the fight?
The same kid I stopped the fight. So he had like what it was called a secondary concussion or whatever not. He probably got that probably in the gym, or from his previous fight. Now, to talk about the Barthelemy fight, I saw the referee look right in his eyes, and it kind of reminded me of what I did when I did the fight for that young kid. And the only thing I regret what I did on that fight was when the kid's mother came up to me and says, you heard the 10-second, why didn't you give him the benefit of the doubt? And I told her in Spanish, and Señora, with all due respect, you're going to thank me that your son is going back home with you. I wish I would have never said that because the kid wound up passing on his next fight. So, this is a tough business we're in, you know what I'm saying?
It is, but that's the only reason that you feel that referee was right, because you have a story, you have testimony, so you can relate. It doesn't make him right. Russell-Barthelemy got up immediately,
You're right.
walked around, and showed that he was
He
well
walked
in his
around, but you know what though? When you go on a knockdown,
and he even said no before even being questioned.
Yeah,
then was
agree.
questioned and said no.
But there's only one thing.
Jack Reese gave Tyson Fury more of a chance versus a devastating historical puncher. But Gary Russell was allotted.
You can't compare both the fights. You got to understand something.
I mean,
this is another thing. I can tell you something.
That's a puncher, and you giving this guy a chance.
Listen, when Jack Reese gave Tyson Fury that so-called long count, you got to understand something. We tell fighters,
but it's not.
Celestino's not just a long count. Fighters,
he gave them all those tests, those sobriety tests.
No. We tell fighters, when there's a knockdown, go to your neutral corner and stay in your neutral corner. If you get out of your neutral corner, we stop count. That's why everybody feel like it was a long count. No, he stopped count because he was making sure that Tyson Fury stays in the neutral corner and not out celebrating. And that's where people get confused at. So, but anyhow.
I'm not confused with the long count. I'm saying he gave Tyson Fury the sobriety test after the count, brother.
I understand that. Every referee's different.
They didn't give that to Rancis. And Rancis practically did that on his own. He got up off the floor. He did a complete circle. He shook his head like, nah, yo estoy bien. And then the ref asks him, so are you good? He's like, yeah. And he waves it off. Like, what the hell? Yeah. That was crazy.
I could understand people have their opinion on that fight, but I'm just saying. I looked at that referee, look at that fight, and the first thing I saw how he was focused on looking at his eyes. He must have saw something that we all didn't see.
Yeah, he saw
for him to stop the fight.
He saw something. He ain't see what we saw. You're right. We saw a good fight, back and forth action, where Rancis deserved the benefit of the doubt as a former champion too. This ain't no prospect, no dude that just started.
But there's something that referee saw that he had to do that. So let's give him the benefit of the doubt too.
It's tough, man.
It is
tough. So, what I would say is the biggest fight you've refereed?
You get in that ring, man, you got to consider this is a professional fight. They're all big fights. And you have to treat all those fights like they're big fights. I mean, come on, man. You got two warriors getting in that ring, putting it all in there. And, boxing is not a game.
No, I get all that, but that's like from a moral standpoint. I'm talking about the history books. Where's your name going to be with the biggest fights?
Well, I mean, I did Usyk fight in Russia when he fought for the Muhammad Ali title.
Okay, wasn't that versus Gassiev?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. And that was, you talk about pressure, it was a big fight. And when I did the Crawford and Porter, that was a big fight too. So
wait! That was you?
Yes.
What did you think of the stoppage? Because obviously the father threw in the fucking towel. Everyone thinks Porter had energy. He was he's banging on the floor. He don't look done.
Were you close to stopping that?
Did you think it was exactly why? Because you know Sean Porter and how he fights. So you were giving him the benefit of the doubt, and that's what I'm talking about. They didn't give Francis.
Okay, then that's that feeling we get there when we're a referee. So you got to give the benefit of the doubt to that referee that stopped that fight. He saw something that we all didn't see. So,
let me ask you this. So in a fight like...
Man, that was your fight. Congrats. That was a great fight.
In a fight like Meldrick Taylor and Chavez Sr., when Richard Steele stopped it with a few seconds left in the fight, many people criticized Richard Steele. Many people believe that Don King even had him in the bag for that fight. But then you go on to see Meldrick Taylor and the effects, and many people point to that fight like, yeah, he fought after, but he was never the same. And they say that those effects and those injuries were sustained from that fight. Do you agree with things like that, or because I know you know which fight I'm talking about?
I know exactly what fight you're talking about, and hey, time will tell, man. Look, Meldrick Taylor's not the same anymore after that fight.
Right.
And people criticize Richard Steele for that fight, and and the same thing. They are worried about the 10-second situation. You can give them a benefit of that 10 seconds, man. You don't know how 10 seconds is very long in that ring when you're getting your ass kicked.
Mm-hmm.
So, Richard Steele did the right thing.
Do you think that there needs to be more training for referees?
Like what kind of training you're talking about?
So,
actually,
everything is up to the referee's discretion. I don't like that, one referee will deduct points for shoving, which I think is a foul. And it is in the Queensberry rules, you're not supposed to be shoving, but it's up to the referee's discretion. So he might allow it. He might give a warning. He might take a point. But none of those things are consistent.
Well,
between each referee.
This is the situation in boxing. If you go and take a point right away without giving any kind of warning, you're going to get criticized.
Yes.
Okay? And therefore, if you don't take a point and the fight continue on, well, why didn't you take it when he pushed him? I had a fight in Mexico about a month ago where the style of the fight was kind of, it was awkward. And the guy looked like he almost knee kicked him or something like that. And I called timeout. I says, hey, man, be careful on how you do that. I guess because the fighter was a former MMA fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So he looked like he wanted to trap him with a kick or whatever not, but it wasn't like intentionally. So
reflexes. Exactly.
So what I did was call timeout and I gave him a hard warning. And towards the end of the fight, the hometown fighter lost it by 114-113 on the scorecard, and right away the coach says I should have taken a point away from him because he kicked him. I said he did not kick him. Come on.
So I think situations like that, is one thing, but then you have situations where a referee will warn a fighter 5 times, 10 times. Like, well, why even warn him? Like, you're not going to take the point.
Exactly. But I want to touch on what you just said.
And there's I understand that, refs are human and people have off nights. But that there's been that one bad apple that makes the whole bunch look bad. There's been situations like that where us as fans or as media members are sitting watching the fight, like, why even warn the individual when you're not going to take a point?
Mm-hmm. You know what's so good about that?
Wait. Celestino, I need to go back to what you said about the flying knee. So we have a real life situation like that. And what I interpreted from what you said is that someone raised their knee but didn't strike.
He did it. He trapped him, put it that way. He didn't really raise it to like he was going to kick him or anything like that.
He used it to kind of cut him off.
Exactly. And I gave him a hard warning for that, because you're not supposed to use your knee for any type of tactic.
Cool. So the reason I wanted to touch back on is because obviously a world-renowned referee who is now retired, Joe Cortez, had a similar situation in the Marcos Maidana Amir Khan fight where Marcos was a little frustrated and he went like that with his elbow. Never hit Maidana, never hit Amir with an elbow. Lo mago, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm about to throw it, but I caught myself. I restrained. I'm an adult. He got a point deducted. No warning.
Was there more fouls going on between? I don't remember that fight.
No,
so.
Amir was winning, but he was starting to get his ass kicked. He put down Maidana, I think, in the second round with a beautiful body shot. But after that, he was getting, running from pillar to post.
But you got to understand something. Maidana's known for being,
wild.
sloppy and wild and trying to get away with, elbows and stuff like that. So, we study boxers, too, as we do fights. And if we know that you have a bad habit of doing something, we take it to you in the dressing room. Hey, listen, man, we understand that you like to lead with your head, so be careful with that because
Tim Bradley.
You don't want to go in there and say I'm going to keep an eye on it because you don't want them to feel like you're picking on them or stuff like that. So, but we just tell them, hey, watch your head, watch your elbow. We're pretty much telling them, that we're aware of the situation. So
now, Nez just said that, do you believe there should be more training? Well, before that, what kind of training is there? Like, because obviously most people don't know as a referee the process.
There's very little training.
No, there's a lot of training. We go to these conventions, man, and
that's where the only training happens.
Yeah.
Where else is there training?
They also have training every 2 months. California has a training on they have their training on
refereeing.
Yeah, refereeing training. They talk about certain fights that happen during the whole month or whatever not, and how will we address the situation and stuff like that. So they do a good job on doing that. So they do have training a lot. I mean, it's not, what it is. They do invite the public to join in on their training, and they do invite the media to come and join the training.
I've never got an email in 11 years.
Well, I will forward it to you.
Yeah, we
appreciate it.
I'd love to
because
go.
I go to the conventions and everything. And another thing, we had Mickey Bay in here, and he said that boxing is run like gang culture. And I want to know, for the referees, is it that way? Because I see some referees are WBC referees, other referees. For instance, Steve Willis won't come to a WBC convention because he's an IBF ref. It's just like this gang banging mentality.
No. I go to all of them.
Really?
Yeah. I go to WBC, IBF, WBO, WBA. I've been to all of them. And it's not like how you're making it seem. It's not like that, I'm in it for boxing, man. I don't
Strange,
care
man, because I know the WBC, when I went in 19, they were in Mexico, and they had a huge referee convention. I actually met
What year was that?
19.
In
Mexico, in Cancun.
I was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was there. Me and I brought my wife, and they had a big thing going on for referees. They were doing, I remember meeting an African-American referee that at the time was just starting out, and he was going specifically because they were giving some sort of seminar or schooling on referees at the time. And so then when I got back, I'm like, Steve, why I ain't see you there? Oh, I'm with the IBF. I'm like, okay.
But Steve goes to the WBO convention. So, yeah. I mean, you got your politics and stuff like that, but I stay out of it, man. So, but I go to all of them.
Cool. Yeah, man. I enjoyed the WBC one. I wanted to go to the IBF. It was supposed to be in California, but then COVID hit, right? It was going to be in Cali?
20?
What organization you said?
IBF.
20.
They just had it. They just had it in California. I was there, Long Beach.
But this is... Are they? Because I know they were supposed to do it in 20, I think.
Yeah, they were. They
and
were.
They stopped because of COVID.
Yeah, and
so this is a makeup of that year?
Yeah, correct. So they
see, and I didn't even get that email. That's crazy. I usually get their emails. I think it's Jeanette, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll forward you some of the emails I get where if we're having a referee seminar, judges seminar, man, I would like you guys to join it.
I get guys all the time that listen to this show that want to be refs. Like, actually, I've been trying to get the other ref who's training to be a ref that works with Top Rank.
Well, I mean, he doesn't work with Top Rank. He's just.
Who's that?
He works with Top Rank. This is what I'm saying. This is some bullshit.
But that's like saying he works with Bones. That's like saying he works with Bones. Because we saw him work sparring at Bones.
He's at Top Rank.
Okay, he's been at Bones too.
Let's say he's at Top Rank 4 days out of the week doing the sparring.
But they only spar 3 days, so he can't be there 4.
Oh, this guy loves to argue. He know it. That dude's at Top Rank. That's just
we met you at Bones.
Correct.
We met him at Bones. We just happened to see him every time
we
after
seen
that.
Him at
Top
Bones.
Rank.
We see him more at Top Rank. Why is it wrong with to say that?
No, I'm just saying he doesn't work for Top Rank, just like he doesn't work for Bones.
When I asked him, "Oh, you're a ref?" No, I'm a ref in training. I work with these guys because they let me come here to practice. So I'm the referee for sparring. Sounds like he works for fucking Top Rank. They ain't letting nobody else come be the referee.
Sounds like he's a judge who is working his way to be a referee, and he's gotten into gyms like Bones, gyms like Top Rank.
Yo.
You know?
All right.
But yeah, I've never heard of anybody working for Top Rank as a referee. We work for the commission.
Thanks, Celestino. Thanks.
Yeah. So
Look, he's all smiling now.
Look, man, that's what I'm here for, to help you out, man.
But yeah, man, it would be good for you guys to understand the media like to blast the judges and the referee.
For sure.
And it's crazy that you don't really see commentators really blasting major league umpires, NFL football players, or NBA.
Look,
because it's universal, though.
No, and you know what? Let me
Don't
tell you
nobody
something.
look at a ball and say, "Oh, that's not really a ball. That's a strike."
No,
if it's out there,
no,
it's
actually,
out there.
hold on. See, actually, let me tell you, he doesn't watch other sports because people do it all the fucking time. Let me tell you.
Call a ball and not a strike.
No, I'm saying, yeah, and people shit on the umpires all the time. Angel Fernandez has no fucking business being in Major League Baseball. He's a disgrace to the fucking sport, and he just has, bro. Don't even coach T-ball. You get what I'm saying?
T-ball.
So there is criticism. I think that it's just harder when you have a team sport and you have all these fucking people on the field, because the refs and the umpires are like the outliers. When you have a fight, there's 3 men in the ring, so you're at least 33% of the event, right? Like, you're literally one of the 3 men in the ring. You know, a baseball field, you have 10 players on the field, right? Your batter, and then your 9. So it's like, yeah, you got your ump, but it's like you also have 10 players. Here it's like you got 2 fighters and that's it. So I don't know. I think people do shit on other sports. I think baseball probably the worst. Outside of boxing.
But at least those referees have universal rules. It's not up to their discretion whether a strike is a strike or a ball is a ball.
It's actually not true, because it kind of is to their.
What about when you get hit with the ball?
Yeah.
That foul is still a foul. It's not up to the ref.
Sometimes it is, though, because if you lean into the ball,
sports suck. Then sports suck.
No, I'm just saying it. Is it not? You watch baseball. Wouldn't you say that some of those calls are up to the discretion of the umpire? If you're leaning into a ball, you get hit. You're like, no, you leaned into it, whatever. Like, it kind of, there is some calls that the balls and strikes is literally discretion. Like, yeah, you have a strike zone, an imaginary one. You know where it's supposed to be. We see the strike zone on TV, so it's like, oh damn, that shit was outside the strike zone. That's a ball. We literally just saw.
And y'all don't have replay?
So they do. It's just fairly new, and it can only be used for certain things, just like in boxing.
Yeah, but boxing, we were supposed to be the ones atrasado, like back.
I mean, basketball and football is different.
This is one thing good about Vegas and boxing. We have instant replay.
Absolutely.
Now. And that helps.
But do they use it?
Yes, we do. We do use it.
Because I remember that time, in New York?
Well, he's just setting up Vegas.
Vegas is
I hear you. I'm just saying.
We're trying to implement it everywhere, but we do have it here. When there's any kind of fights in Vegas, we go on the instant replay. So I mean, the last thing a referee.
Who has to ask for that though? If you made a call,
I say, for instance, if there's a call like, I really didn't see that was a knockdown, because if you get hit and you're wobbled and your glove touches the canvas, that's a knockdown.
Absolutely.
But we're not 100%. So me as a referee, I could ask for a review. So I point to my review official and I says, man, I want to make sure I got this right. So he'll review it and he'll come up to me and say, hey, listen, it was a knockdown. So we leave it alone. But I had a fight here in Vegas where I called a knockdown. And they went into the review. And Joe Cortez was my review official. And he says, hey, Sal, you called it a slip. I called it a slip, the knockdown a slip. He goes, that was a knockdown. So we changed it. Called timeout, went to both corners and let them know, hey, from the review, the slip is now a knockdown. We changed the call. And then we go to both corners and then we notify all the judges. The slip is now knocked down. And we get the right call.
I want to ask you about a very specific fight. I was in attendance for one of the few people in the bubble. It was Joshua Franco versus Maloney. I believe it was the second fight. And I know there was a lot of criticism towards the commission specifically and instant replay in that fight. And you let me know when I first met you, if I remember correctly, that it wasn't really on the commission. It was actually the network, correct? Could you kind of clarify? Because those were, do I remember that correctly?
The only thing I could say was, and I would leave it at what I'm going to say. That fight was never under review.
Okay.
Nobody asked for a review, and we just leave it at that.
Okay.
But again, who has to ask for the review?
Referee and the instant review official. The instant review official that's doing your fight, he could ask for a review, and the referee. That's it. Promoters, commissions, and judges, they don't ask for the.
I'm not expecting you to say the opposite here, but I do want to hear some sort of process to try to give the audience an idea of how corruption is impossible, because you hear it a lot, like, oh, that referee was in the promoter's bag, or
that's a bunch of crap.
Exactly. So how is that a bunch of crap? Why shouldn't boxing fans believe that this sport is corrupt and can be bought?
I would say more that they're more incompetent than they are corrupt. I mean, ain't nobody gonna lay up there and risk going to jail or risk their credibility over some BS.
But you say that, but it happened for so many years.
It does happen, but that's because they're incompetent. Like they don't have a clue what's going on, and they shouldn't be there.
Muhammad Ali is known and recognized as the first heavyweight champion to not be owned by the mob. Like, when you think about the history of the sport, that wasn't that long ago. So, there is. So that being said, why do you think that the mindset hasn't changed? Like, okay, cool, Ali was champion that long ago. It's been a long time. Why hasn't that mentality changed, or that?
Because of these god awful decisions. There's no unity amongst referee and how they call questions, or how the sport comes to the decision of a winner. So the casual fan sees it. They see one guy win, the other guy lose, but then the judges say, no, that guy won. It's like, this is corrupt.
Let's put it this way. Back in the days when you were watching Muhammad Ali and Leon Spank and all that stuff, everybody said that you had to knock the champion out in order to win.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd they get that crap from?
I mean,
where did they get that crap from? That's what we were brought up knowing, that you had to knock the champ out.
Well, the fact that Deontay Wilder, right, knocked down Tyson Fury, and Jack Reese gave him a fucking highway sobriety test in the middle of the fight, and Rancies didn't, it says it all. You got to knock out the champion to win. Tyson was the lineal champ coming back.
No, it wasn't.
Wilder was the current champ. Tyson was the man that beat the man. He's the one that dethroned Vladimir Klitschko. He was the man. He was the lineal champ.
Well, like I said, man, I already explained to you about the situation on the count. If a fighter gets out of his neutral corner, we are allowed to stop where we left off. Make sure he stays in the neutral corner.
But why do you guys do that, knowing that the count stops? You got that Canadian ref in the Lucian Bute fight. He's fucking arguing with Lombardo Andrade. You're stopping the motherfucking count by turning around and argue with this guy, giving Bute 20-something seconds to recover. And then you want me to believe no corruption. It's like,
man,
you don't have to have a physical argument.
I would just say,
turn the fuck around.
I would just say the guy was clueless of what the hell he was doing, man.
And he still gets big fights. He's still out here rocking in the big shows.
That guy passed away, man.
The black guy?
Yeah, he's been gone for 5 years now.
No, it can't be 5. It can't be 5.
Yeah, I'm telling you, he passed
What
away.
fight was
Oh
that
my
now?
God, what's his name?
I-
Oh my God, why you do that now? I feel horrible. Talk about him.
Ness, what fight was that? Lucian Bute versus who?
Lombardo Andrade. Oh shit. How? He was so young.
COVID.
He looked COVID.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was COVID.
He
He had some
young.
health issues, but yeah.
Oh man, you killed me with that. James Valdez in San Antonio, Texas says, was there ever a ref back in the day that you didn't care for? Mine was Richard Steele. You refs stick together, man. I'm telling you, it's gang culture.
No, man.
So tell me one ref you don't like.
Tell you one ref I don't like. Oh my God.
They stick together.
There's a big list, man. I'm trying to think.
Marlon Wright.
Damn. That is him. He passed for real?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I feel horrible.
Yo, it's crazy too because that same ref.
No, he's got a bunch of controversials.
No. I was.
There's
I wasn't
a
gonna
lot
say
of
that.
referees like that, man. But it's like I said, man. They're not gonna lay up there and
I mean, he
take
was
a bribe or anything.
He was
like
a
that. That's just not
Canadian
happening.
ref in a huge Canadian fight, and the Canadian fighter was out on his feet.
No, let me tell you,
They don't look good.
He refed a lot of Bute's fights, like a lot of them, especially like leading up to that. But you know,
But that's what they say about that ref. They refed a lot for Floyd, right? Like Floyd literally always picked him. What's his name?
no, but
Was it Richard Steele
no,
or Kenny Bellis?
It was Kenny Bayless. But if you actually look at it, it wasn't that many fights.
Really?
It really wasn't.
How many is that? Not that many to you?
Let me see.
Because Floyd is a generational talent. If you've done 4 fights of Floyd, you're blessed. Come on. Show me a referee. I mean, I don't know. I can't say show me a referee that's done Ali because I don't know him. But I got Ruin of 504 New Orleans. He says, can you tell us about a time when you reffed the fight and knew a fighter got robbed on the scorecards?
Can I tell you a time? Listen, man. There's time I ref a fight, and sometimes I know that blue corner is dominating red corner, and I could just say to myself, I know blue corner got this, and then all of a sudden it changes when the score comes in, and I'm raising the red corner's hand, and I'm like, I don't know what these guys were watching or whatever not, but it's happened quite a few times, but not a lot.
We just saw you brought up the Barthelemy and Russell fight on that same card, main event, Danny Garcia and Jose Benavidez Jr. And there was a lot of criticism in that fight. One of the refs scored it a draw. One of the judges, scored it a draw. Did you watch that fight?
I did.
Do you think there was any way that could have been scored a draw?
Listen, man, I'm
Which
not here.
Garcia versus
Jose Benavidez?
Yeah. I'm not here to defend any of our officials or anything like that, but there's something that you guys got to understand. When we go in that arena, the lighting is horrible. Okay? I mean, horrible. I mean, when I did the Crawford and Porter fight, man, the lighting was horrible, dude. And sometimes
Like it gets in your eye?
Yeah, it's bad. It's really,
so the football things would help or sunglasses?
I couldn't tell you what would help, but I'm telling you, the lighting is so bad that the judge has to score what he or she sees, and sometimes these production company or whatever, they should look out for the officials. Okay, let's see if the light will bother the judges here. Nobody do that kind of stuff, man. We go inside the ring.
Get higher stools.
The first thing we do is we check the ropes for the ring to see if the canvas is okay, whatever not. And I mean, there's times we had to tell them, hey man, you guys got to tighten up the ropes. You guys, something's wrong with the canvas, stuff like that. I had a fighter in Mexico about 2 weeks ago. He sprung his ankle. He was winning the fight, and in the 6th round, he sprained his ankle. He wasn't the same fighter anymore. And he wound up losing the fight because, he was fighting with a broken ankle.
You spoke about Joe Cortez earlier. Have you ever had social conversation with him and he's mentioned the Cortez 2020 system?
Cortez 2020 system.
Wow, he hasn't mentioned. He probably dropped that idea. He was out here campaigning when he was an active ref, trying to get judges the tennis chairs.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Elevated.
Yes. Yeah.
What's your thoughts? Do you think judges, not referees, would serve the sport better in elevated tennis judges' chairs where they're fucking 12 feet in the air?
I don't know about that high.
It's not that high?
Well, no.
Definitely seems that high.
No, I'm saying I don't know if they should be sitting that high. I don't know that they should be above the ring. But
well, he definitely wanted them above the ropes.
Well, put it this way: if you go see a boxing fight, and like say for instance, some of these arenas they got upper level, you could actually see the fight better on top than you do in ringside.
Madison Square Garden.
And who knows? That could probably be a good idea. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not ever been put to a test, but
I mean, it needs to, because not just for the better view, but you literally just sat here and said you can't really see with the lights.
You can't really see, and then
if you're sitting higher, obviously you're not gonna have lights beaming straight at you
because you're looking down.
When you're in ringside, man, you don't know the distraction you go through as a judge, especially if you're on the side where
there is a lot of beautiful women in the stands.
When you see all the camera guys all right by you, and they're like kind of like smothering you in your space, it's a distraction, man. So a lot of that you got to take in consideration. Not that I'm making excuses for these judges or whatever not, but man, something needs to be done about that.
If there was one thing you could change, what would it be?
If there was one thing I can change about what?
About the way the referee process, the judge process, like something you could change from your aspect. Obviously, you said it. The media, the fans, they all criticize.
If there's something I could change, I think instant replay will. I think they should implement more on instant replay because it helps the referee out. I mean, could you imagine if that referee that stopped that fight prematurely misses a knockdown and didn't call the knockdown? You guys will be all up on that guy's butt about him not calling that knockdown. So why not, scream about, hey, why don't we get instant replay?
So now my question is, do you believe that the corners should be allowed to initiate the instant replay? Because from my knowledge, even though instant replay is relatively new in boxing, it's still the only sport that doesn't allow the competitors to initiate the instant replay.
That's something that should be looked at. I mean, why not? I mean, they're given, like, say, for instance, in baseball, you're given how many times?
Challenges.
How many challenges you're given?
I want to say it's 2 a game or 3 a game, something like
Football
that.
Got 3, right? Correct.
Football got 2 per half, so you get 2 in the first half, 2 in the second half, and then if you go to overtime, they even give you some for that too.
But could you imagine in boxing? I want to use a challenge. Can you replay round number 4 and we're in round number 8? Can't do that. Come on.
I mean, at the end of the round,
at the end of the
round,
at the end of the round, you got that minute. If you don't do it during your minute break,
but how many are you allowed? How many would you allow?
That's something that has to be determined, like it's been done in these other sports.
I would say 1 per round. It's just like boxing uses this phrase: round. You score a fight round by round. So is the flag. So is the foul. He could do it in the 3rd. He could do it in the 12th. So why would we only allow 3?
Well, I mean,
do you know how much time that would take up, man?
Hey, man, this sport is fucked up. People don't believe in us no more. They think it's corrupt. It's crazy.
You think that would help the situation?
The Jake Paul situation. No one believes that fight is off. Everybody's blaming someone. Like, This is the only sport with a
Listen,
dark
man.
cloud.
That fight there is, it's not even a real fight.
Okay, even
that's
if
a
you
real
say that,
fight.
even if you say that, even if
Not a
you
real
say
fight.
that,
It
That's
doesn't
a
go
real-
on the
even if you
it
say
doesn't
that-
go on the records.
It does.
It does. It's a
He's
professional fight.
fighter.
Not a professional fight.
He is.
the state sanctioned the fight. Like
Yo,
the state
and this is
athletic
what's
commission-
funny. This is why I'm defending this kid. What is different between him and Sergio Martinez? Sergio started at 21. What the hell is the difference? Why do people keep putting this kid down?
What kid?
Jake. How is that not a real fight? He's pro, and he's fighting another pro.
Who has he fought in the pros?
Other fighters.
Who? Name. Give me some names, man.
You give me the names of your favorite fighter in his first 5 fights.
I mean,
no, name the greatest favorite fighter you got. You won't know who he fought in the first 5. At least this kid is fighting real people that we know. Ben Askren. The other dude is a fucking person we know, a celebrity. What was it? Tyrone Woodley. And this guy was a son of a legend. Pedigree. I don't get it. He's fought, his first 5 fights are better than Canelo's.
oh, yeah, man. Everybody has their opinion.
Who the hell did Canelo fight in his first 5? Who did Oscar fight in his first 5? Who did Ali fight in his first 5?
But they got built up to where they're at, though, man.
But he's
And
just
that's
getting
what he's
started.
doing.
He's just
Okay.
getting
He's
started.
building himself up.
He's just getting
And
started.
that's what people
Okay,
hate, right?
so-
They
so
hate
you
that
think-
he's building
What-
himself up and he's so popular and he's getting the pick. Well, wait a minute. Every fighter gets to pick when they're building themselves up. You just mad that his fight's on a bigger stage than yours. It's crazy. I don't get the
But
hate.
even-
I think
it's
it's dangerous because if he would fight anybody within the top,
But why
10,
wasn't it dangerous for Sergio Martinez? How many fighters do? Why wasn't it dangerous for Deontay Wilder?
Because they built him up. They built him up.
And that's
They
what
led
he's
up there and
doing.
got
And
built
that's
up.
what he's doing. You just said who has he fought. So if you don't believe in his opposition, it's called building him up.
You got a little point there. But
I mean, regardless, look, even if that's your opinion, Ness makes a point. There's people that don't respect the sport, that that believe the sport is corrupt.
Yeah, man.
And I don't, look, I understand you're in a tough position, and I don't know what that's like because I'm not a ref, but I do know that there has been more than there's been more than enough instances where there's been like blatant, like more than clear, like how was that a point deduction, or how was that not a point deduction, or how, like, my man's Abner Mares must have hit Joseph Ebeko in his sack about 20 times.
For real, I remember that.
Russell Moore did not take 1 point, but he counted. I mean, he warned them more times than I can count. It was like, why warn him? Like, seriously, it was like, why warn him when he didn't hit him in his dick about 20 times? You ain't took 1 point. You get what I'm saying? And it's like, I know, and I've literally said it, it's like the one bad apple, because now, it's like, oh, refs, when it's not all refs, it's not all judges, it's not most refs or most judges. But there is more than enough instances where the sport has lost credibility and it's lost fans, and
they just don't believe in it anymore.
We love the sport, and we just want to see it change. We want to see that perception where people can turn on the fight and truly believe in their hearts that it's gonna be a fair fight. Not Canelo being outclassed and schooled by Floyd Mayweather. Then it's still a majority decision because somebody had it a draw. Like things like that. That was a mega fight, and think about how many people were left with a sour taste in their mouth. People that didn't want to watch a fight anymore because you see somebody just get classed.
It's funny that you talk about that. People now pay attention to what the judges are scoring than the actual fight. Even if the right person won, they still want to bitch about,
of course,
the judges.
Because there needs to be some sort of repercussions. These guys, I mean, who was it? What was it? Adelaide Berg gave draw card to Floyd Canelo. Then Saturday, Danny gets a draw card on his fight. It's like, you guys need to be fired. Those judges need to be fired. There's only one case where the judges were fired indefinitely, and that's Paul Williams versus Islandri Lara, because it was so blatant. But that needs to happen. You need to fear that you're going to lose your job because you didn't make the right call. If not, you're going to keep doing what the hell you want. The fighters don't get it that way. If they don't get the win, they go to the back of the line, the back of the bus. They drop from the rankings. Porter lost his belt to Kell Brook and drop out the top 15 of the IBF. There needs to be repercussions for not only referees but judges too, because you have the fighters. That motherfucker took Rance's life out his hands, out his own hands. His career could have been extended had he beat Antoine Gary Russell. You know, if he doesn't win and he goes 12 in a tight fight where he looks good, the promoter gives him a second opportunity. But you cut him short. You cut his lifeline. Who are you? You ain't even get in the ring. Now you did. You did.
And like you said, sometimes it's incompetence, but that doesn't justify.
And that's why
that doesn't make it okay.
That's why people like you should be rest. Because if you ain't get in the ring, how do I know more than you? If I haven't taken punches, if I haven't been in there to know exactly firsthand what's going on.
Listen,
Look,
man, I had this conversation with a lot of former fighters.
It should be former fighters stepping up to the plate.
And I have this conversation with a lot of former fighters. And when I was the chief official in Illinois, the first thing I would tell them was, don't talk about the officials. Come join us.
Yeah.
We need you guys. But a lot of them don't stay consistent with it. So they act like if they work a couple show fights or whatever, not they want to do Golden Gloves and they want to turn pro right quick. It doesn't work like that, man. You got to work your way up, and that's the problem with the sport. A lot of former. I mean, how many? Put it this way: you guys want to talk about, officials that are not incompetent and are bad or whatever. Not try to say. Let's give a number of how many of them are former fighters.
You tell us.
I'm
What's
asking
that stat?
you guys. I mean, I would love to know that stat. How many of them are former fighters? Not too many.
No.
So
but that's what I'm saying. That
so
doesn't
maybe
justify
it doesn't. But maybe we need to start implementing to these former fighters when your career is short and you still got love for the sport. Come join us,
Celestino, and then
yeah, but there's also you tell us what was your. I'm sorry, Danny, but what was like the restrictions or the guidelines that you had to, the criteria that you had to meet to be a ref?
Starting
it's
off
like these guys
in
are
the
60
amateurs.
fucking years old. You can't even move in the ring, let alone break up two heavyweights. And I get you. God bless your soul. You love the sport.
But you know what,
want to
though?
do it in your retirement, but
You gotta understand
physically you're
something.
not capable.
You got to work what we got, not what you want.
And this is
We
what I'm
need-
saying.
we
This
need
is
guys.
the sport the casual fan sees. Oh, look, a 60-year-old ref trying to break up Deontay Wilder with fucking Dominic Brazil.
Yeah, but you know what? Like I said, we don't have former fighters that are officials. You know what I'm saying? We don't have young guys. You're not just gonna.
You gotta
like, say
go-
for instance, you want to be a referee, right?
But go recruit.
So yeah,
Every job recruits. Even top firms recruit. They're called headhunters. Like
we do, man. Listen,
no.
We
There's
tell
fighters that
fighters
are not Ishe Smith. There's fighters that aren't well off. This motherfucker's out here dying right now. That would love a job.
Listen,
love a job.
We tell people, come join us. You got to start in the amateur.
I
It
don't know where you're
starts in the
telling
amateur.
them.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna speak for Illinois. Basically,
Okay.
every time we have a Golden Glove tournament or any show, first thing we tell the announcer is to say, "Hey, listen, we're looking for volunteer officials. Go to usaboxing.org, blah blah blah. Join judging, refereeing, join refereeing, judging, timekeeping. Glove table. We welcome them over there in Illinois."
And the corruption starts from the beginning. We're going to move on. We got some other questions for you, but I just want to say we can't keep coddling and protecting a sport that is corrupt when it starts in the amateurs. Kids turning pro like, no, I left the amateurs. My trainer said I got a pro style, plus I'm always getting robbed. Oh, the amateurs is bullshit. It's political. It's who you know. Oh, I left the amateurs because I went to the fight all the way in Shreveport. We drove 10 hours. I didn't get matched. It's fucking pathetic.
But you know what?
It's
That's with all
disrespectful.
sports. That's with all sports,
No,
man.
see, no.
Football,
Hold on,
basketball,
hold on,
none of that happens.
Hold on, no. And we had this argument last week. right now, if you want, you wearing a Cubs jersey. If you have a child or you know a child, there is literally a fucking path to get him to make it to the major leagues.
Absolutely.
Right? There's a path. There's literally.
We don't even have boxing in the high school curriculum, let alone elementary curriculum.
There's literally.
But baseball, football, wrestling, for God's sakes. In some of these rich schools, they got fencing and swimming. It's disrespect to the sport. They don't fuck with us, man. We're what's it called?
The stepchild. No, I mean, think about it. Literally,
black
every
sheep,
other
more
sport,
like we the black sheep.
even if in the UFC, although I know every style, is not wrestling, but even if you're a fucking wrestler, you literally have now something to like. There is nothing there's no path in boxing. You create your path. There's no path in football. You can I played Pee-wee. Like, there's a path for me. There's high school, then there's college, and then there's a draft. And then guess what? If you don't make it there, we got somewhere for you. Come to Canada. Like, there's shit for people. It's not like that in boxing.
At all.
It's not like that in boxing.
Well,
you're all alone.
Why don't we try something like that, man? Try to create that in high schools or something like that. Boxing or something like that. Hey, man, you're fighting. You're fighting in the hallway or whatever. Now, why don't you join the boxing?
You just got done telling us there's not enough officials for amateurs and professionals. Is there gonna be enough for high school? Like,
and schools they're gonna all of a
sudden. But why don't we try to implement that? You know what I'm saying? They're not enough.
We have to get it over the line, but we have to first figure out a way to take the stigma away from boxing that it's more dangerous than. Like, football has just as many injuries, but boxing is more dangerous than. Baseball, they literally swinging a bat. People getting hit in the head with the fastballs at 90 miles an hour. Boxing is more dangerous than. Until we dispel that notion, we'll never get it in the curriculum in school. How are you going to have your 5-year-old, doing boxing in gym class if the world, society is saying that he's going to have brain damage or it's too young for him to be getting hit and all this bullshit?
And you can get brain damage from football.
No, I mean,
that's my point.
I mean, football literally.
From wrestling, football, there's so many dangerous sports
boxing
out there.
Boxing is a worldwide sport, but yet if you look at the football statistics, like their CTE cases have been through the roof. Like, there's been so many people who have committed suicide and have literally, like, Junior Seau purposely didn't shoot himself in the head so they can see how fucked up his brain was. And that came from football, but I don't know, man. I'm just saying it's definitely difficult for these.
I think the
you're
Cubans.
from Chicago.
The Cubans
I'm
got
from
it
Chicago.
right.
Come on, how many gyms have a good, successful gym in Chicago right now? Like, what's my guy? They closed down the Park District. He didn't, right? He had his gym in the Park District. He couldn't even fucking do that. What was Adrian Granado's trainer? I can't remember his name right now.
George Hernandez.
Did he not have? I never went because again I was on the west side. But didn't he have his gym in a Park District? Chicago?
He still has it there.
But they were trying to shut it down, no?
They were, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. He shouldn't even have to go through that shit. How many kids' lives has he not been able to save? How many kids' lives has he not been able to change? I don't care if you go on to turn pro, because a lot of these kids that play baseball and football,
funding either.
They don't go on to turn pro, but their life is fucking saved.
They get no funding either, and half of these trainers are full-time fathers for their own children, plus the 20, 30 others that they're taking care of in the gym. They get zero funding. Shout out to Barry Hunter, who at least he works in a, I would say, community or state funded gym.
Well, that's similar to what George has, got going on. And we do see a few, but unfortunately there's not that much money. So even if you want...
But his is state of the art.
No, I'm saying, but even if you want, a lot of these places don't have the option to provide free or discounted training. Like, it's expensive. People can't afford it. And it's just very difficult to make it in the sport. Apparently, it's difficult to make it as a judge or a ref because there's a lack of, right? As a fighter, I feel there's a lack of a system. You literally have to figure it out. If you don't know anybody, you got to figure this shit out.
No, there's one path, and that's become an amateur, work hard, and after a very long journey that's going to be filled with ups and downs and political decisions, you might make it. That's your path.
No,
in
I'm
this
so,
sport.
yeah, but
How many
that-
boxing gym they have here in Las Vegas? that you know?
Dozens. But I come from New Jersey, where in my city there weren't many. Everyone we only know Red Brick, and that's been shut down for years in Newark, New Jersey.
When I started boxing in Chicago, there was only a few boxing gyms in Chicago, and then they shut down where I started off at the Union League Boys Club, and they just shut it down.
Yeah.
So I wound up going to the Park District. So I went to Humboldt Park. They had a boxing gym there, and then they opened up a boxing gym right around on the side of Humboldt Park called Crystal Boxing Club. I went over there because it was closer to my house. But it was one of those situations. Me growing up, there were certain areas I couldn't go to for boxing because of the gang situation and stuff, and that's the problem we have probably everywhere. Certain people probably want to box, but they don't want to go to certain neighborhood because something might happen to them,
Mm-hmm.
So look, I'm gonna tell you, I think that coming out of Chicago, and I'm gonna use Chicago, if you become a successful boxer, you're known at least within your own city's boxing community, right? So Chicago, if you make it out of Chicago as a boxer, you're at least known in the boxing world because there's not many fighters coming out of Chicago. Look, there's professional fighters who have gone on to accomplish things in the sport that have gyms in Chicago that I didn't even know existed. Just because the gym is there doesn't mean that the child's gonna know, because when you go to a park, like gyms are literally anywhere. You go to a park, the kids see kids playing, it's like, cool, I can sign you up for this. Most of these people don't even know where their local gym is. There is no promotion. There is no ad.
I would say now people are starting to find out where these gyms at because of social media.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have that back then when I was growing up. Okay, we didn't know where the boxing gyms were at. So there's no excuses, man. People are always on social media.
It's the same excuse you just said. It's the same excuse you just said, though, because cool. Now step one, you figured it out. Now step two, where is it at? Because if it's in a certain neighborhood, I'm not going over there.
Exactly.
Mm.
I mean, it's where it should be, boxing gyms should be a safe haven, man. Don't come here with the crap, man. We're here to save your life,
And that's what I'm saying, that unfortunately it's really hard for a trainer, for a judge, for a referee, for a fighter to really make it in the sport. Not just is it a long process, but it's a process that you may not see light at the end of the tunnel. You get what I'm saying? It's like,
I know. Look at you, 100 amateur fights. So you didn't have like promoters offering you offers?
No, I mean, because everything was in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we used to fight. We used to fight 3 times a day when we had the Golden Glove tournaments. We would fight 2 or 3 times a day, depending on how many people you had in your weight class. And
so you never went open, is what it's called?
Yes, I did.
Oh,
I fought open, and but what I'm trying to say is, man, once you fight, you go take a rest and get ready. You're gonna fight again later on because we had so many people in our weight class at the time. So what I'm saying is, it got more stricter now because now you can only fight once, and if you got so many people in your weight class, they give you a day of rest now, and then you fight another day. It's gotten stricter, put it that way, and it was all for safety. I mean, back in the days, they didn't care about safety, man. You could fight 2 or 3 times a day and keep rolling. So it's different, man. Time nowadays are different, man. It's just I don't know, man.
I got 2 more for you. During the NBA Finals, I saw the head of the officiating admit that the refs are less likely to give a player a second technical and eject them from the game because of the importance of the game. Would you say that logic exists for you as a boxing official? The bigger the fight, the less likely you are to deduct points.
Put it this way. If I'm doing a big fight and they're doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, that is not boxing related, like committing a foul, and those guys are getting a lot of money. Okay, people pay to see a fight. They don't pay to see a referee. Okay, but I'm one of those referees that I would tell you that if you commit any kind of fouls or whatever, not I won't hesitate to disqualify you without pay.
Without pay. So you have the authority to do without pay, or any disqualification is no pay.
I did the heavyweight fight when he walked out the ring.
Oh, that was you with Curtis Harper.
Exactly. And he walked out the ring.
But again, I just want to be
and
specific.
I disqualified him with no pay.
But it's your call to say no pay?
It's up to the commission if he doesn't want to pay him or whatever not. I could just make my ruling. But if the commission was...
But your recommendation...
My recommendation was with
no pay.
And that they stuck with it.
Wow. You know, he fought again.
He just fought recently.
Yeah, he actually
Curtis
beat
Harper.
my friend.
Yeah, he
beat
actually
Christian Thun.
Yeah, Christian Thun, who
Really?
was an up and coming.
Okay, so his suspension got lifted then. I thought they suspended him for life.
Indefinitely?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, maybe in Minnesota, but
also,
that fight,
I'm sure he fought it, even if it was indefinite. The same way Chavez was fined $1 million for smoking weed, and ended up paying like $75,000 when it was all said and done.
But I mean, if you get suspended, you get suspended by the state, right? So it's like even if he got suspended for life in Minnesota, he can still go fight in.
No, he can't.
Florida.
No, he can't.
Really?
No, it doesn't work like that. Once they put a flag on your name that you're suspended, you have to go back to that state and get that flag lifted.
To ever fight again?
Yeah, to ever fight again. So he might have went back to Minnesota and got it lifted, and
that's what I'm saying. I feel like he might have fought it. If he had got suspended indefinitely,
I heard he got
fought
suspended. You know, from what I understand, he was suspended for life.
Yeah, well, he just got a huge upset win in Florida against Christian Thun.
Oh, yeah. Was it a legitimate fight or an exhibition?
No, it
No.
was
I got Jazz. This says, this is more finesse. What % chance do you give Rancis to win at the time of the stoppage? Probably less than 1%. He was slowing down, just got knocked down, and is 37 years old. That has to factor when determining whether to stop a fight. Cool, but again, you guys are adding in what could, not what's happening. You're saying to yourself, oh, well, let me stop it now because he is 37, so something might happen. Let me stop it now because he is starting to slow down, so he might not get what boxing calls his second win, right? Like stealing opportunities from a person. That phrase was in boxing before you and I, but you get the opportunity to steal it from him to get his second win, and I'm using air quotes because it does exist. Allow that man an opportunity. The fight doesn't even start to the 6th round. Like that's just the halfway point. That's when we separate the women from the children, you know, the people that are really training from those that are not. It's just too soon. But the next one is from Dr. Mofongo. He says, good morning. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on clinching as it's been an on again, off again topic on this show over the years. I tend to view it as a tool in boxing where some fighters use it as a part of their strategy depending on the style they're facing and feel the ref should step in only if it gets excessive. How do you see it? Are the scenarios where you might be more lenient with warnings and deducting points? Always great to hear a referee's perspective.
Well, put it this way. Clinching is part of the game. Boxing.
Technically, you're supposed to do it with one hand.
Correct.
Not with two.
Correct. So what I try to do is I'll go in there. If I know that the clinching is going to turn into a wrestling match, I want to go in there and separate them already. So I'll go in there, stop, break them up, and let them reset and fight all over again, you know. But if you start clinching and holding for your dear life, I got a problem with that. So that's where the hard warning will come in.
Did you watch Devin Alexander, Marcos Maidana?
I did. I'm trying to remember that fight. Yes, I did.
Well, what's your thoughts? Because that was excessive. We did a clinch counter. It was over 128 clinches in that fight. Alexander held on like an octopus and still got the win. Just disgusting. I, as a ref, would not allow that to happen because I'm allowing these fans to see this garbage that now is going to be a representation of our sport. That was more MMA than fighting.
Pretty much, yeah. A lot of referees want to stay away from taking points because then when you start taking points, you know what's coming after that, right?
Disqualification.
and they trying to stay. A lot of referees try to stay away from that DQ. You know, but you got some referees that.
So there's a fear of scrutiny. That's all I'm hearing in this interview.
Pretty
a fear
much.
Of scrutiny.
I would say, yeah. But I tell you what, I'm not.
You
afraid.
guys need to get together.
I'm not afraid to take a point away from you.
Referees need to be more like the union, and just stand by each other so that you can have more of an authoritative, position in that ring. Because you may want to do something, but now you're saying that it can affect you.
But see, you got to understand something. You disqualify a big fight. Now I'm taking away from the fan. People didn't come here to see a disqualification. They come to see a fight.
But you got a job to do,
Exactly.
man. There's certain rules that you can't allow just because it's Floyd.
But there's a no-win situation here, man.
Tough.
You know what I'm saying?
This-
Okay, if I disqualify
this is why
the
we
guy,
need a universal commission.
if I disqualify the guy, then you guys would be over here talking about, hey, man, we're here to see a fight.
Look, it is a
Floyd clinched a lot. Floyd used his fucking elbow a lot. No one ever took a point from his ass. It's like y'all scared. Yeah. Broner the same shit. Broner could go in there and do whatever the fuck he want. No one takes a point.
Well, look,
it's crazy.
For me, he doesn't watch other sports. I do. For me, it is a double-edged sword. It is a double-edged sword, and because I get what you're saying, and I get what you're saying because I'm on your end. But look, I just shitted on Angel Hernandez. Now, do I believe it's a proper reason? The entire world who watches baseball believes so. And as a baseball fan, I have sat behind my TV, not just with him, but with many times, and I'm telling myself, why the fuck is the umpire trying to make it about him? It's not about you. Let them play ball. It's not about you. So I get where you're coming from because obviously there's scrutiny either way. Yeah. It's like, damn it if I do, damn it if I don't, So I don't want you to think that, we're just attacking you because I do understand that perspective because I'm that guy. I'm that guy where I'm like, why is this ump trying to make it about him? Like, let them play ball. So I get it. I get it. And like I said, I'm not in those shoes, but there's those times that just leaves those sour tastes in our mouth.
Too many times.
There's time like you say you're not there, like you just said you're not there to, it's not about you, it's about the fighters.
Correct.
But it's fucked up when a judge or a ref makes a call so bad that we're not even talking about the fight. Now we're talking about the call because it was that bad. And it's existed.
Does every fight have 3 officials? And by officials, I mean
3
refs?
judges.
No, I mean refs. Because don't you have someone assisting you at the ring to make sure the count and the clock and the person?
No, those are the timekeeper. They're not referees. They're timekeepers.
Who is the person that's keeping the count for you while you're distracted?
We got a timekeeper, and then we got an individual that takes the count.
And he's not a ref?
No.
So you're the only referee in the ring at the time of the fight?
Correct.
Well, there goes the problem right there. In football, I don't even watch it, but there's like 7 referees, right?
But here's the thing. No, see, there's like you got your side judges, you got your referee, you got your line judge. So it's similar in the sense that it's like you got your main referee. There's only one white hat. So in this case, it'd be the referee.
But can any side referees or other referees make a call?
Yes.
That's all we need.
We have the instant replay review official.
But not in every state.
But in every state don't have that.
So I don't understand, why wouldn't there be another 2 referees to assist you on the ring? Not on top, down below.
Well, like I said, we got the review official
But not in every state.
That's right. That's a former referee, and he reviews what's going on or whatever not.
But if you don't have
in any state, if we don't, then you're on your own. And guess what?
And again,
people be
but
dogging the referee.
How hard is it? How hard is it? We have no instant replay. Can we still have that referee kind of watch? Because what if you need like, hey, Danny, was it a slip? What'd you think? It's like, no, I seen it, bro. It wasn't a slip. It's like, all right, we reviewed.
Right.
That's my partner.
I mean, he just got done telling you that they have to ask for volunteer officials in the amateurs. Clearly, there's a lack of. Even in the pro sports, it wasn't up until like maybe 2-3 years ago.
So you're volunteering. You don't get paid.
In the amateurs, you don't get paid. You volunteer.
In the pros, I know you're retired professionally, but if I were 25, his age, and wanted to be a referee, can I support a family
Can you support a family?
as a referee?
No, come on, man.
So it's a part-time job only.
Correct.
That's why you don't have many referees then. You know, who's giving up their time for free at these days?
No, but that's what I was getting at. You know, these other pro sport, like in football, it wasn't up until like 2 years ago that they made them full-time. Like these
They
guys.
were part-times too?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
Even in college, they would get fucking, you know, it's like, all right, cool, this your region, and, you know, this where you covering. But, like, there was NFL referees and shit. Like, there was a couple that became famous based off their physique. And it was like one guy specifically, like he's a lawyer Monday through Friday. He's
What?
just an NFL referee on Sundays.
Mills Lane, man.
You get what I'm saying? So even
Rest in peace.
even in America, the most famous sport, the sport that owns a day of the week, it wasn't up until literally 2-3 years ago that their referees and their judges were full time. They were also part time. So I could only imagine in a sport like football that doesn't have the backing, doesn't have everything that in a sport like boxing, you know, like football would
Yeah,
have.
and this sport is so picky. Like
Very
football,
picky, man. Come on, man. Can you?
Mills
Football,
Lane
listen to me.
Mills
Football
Lane
is
is still
allowing-
alive, by the way.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he
My
not
bad. Football is allowing their athletes to use marijuana. Boxing
Nevada
is telling boxers you can't even
The-
be sponsored
the-
by marijuana.
The Nevada State Athletic Commission doesn't test for marijuana anymore.
Right, they changed that.
Yeah, but that's fine. But that's in this state.
Right.
And as a whole, the network doesn't
they-
even want you to have a
Right.
marijuana sponsor.
It's an enhancement drug. That's the way they pretty much.
No, but
say
I'm saying the network doesn't even want you to have it as a sponsor. Like we know a fighter who literally got told by the network, no, that our sponsor can't sponsor them because it's marijuana.
I don't deal with that situation. So
Just
I couldn't
saying.
really.
I'm just showing you how fucked up our sport is, where one lets you use it.
Because in
The other
boxing,
tells you can't use it and you can't wear it.
You could wear sponsorship or whatever not, but it's not like UFC where you just have to use their sponsor. So I'm
Yeah,
clueless
but boxing
on that
is we know firsthand that one network allows pornographic or rather porn site sponsorship and another network does not.
one. I'm not
So
familiar
like
with all that.
ESPN lets Floyd Diaz be sponsored by Brazzers. Other networks, they don't want to have anything to do with X video, let's say, you know what I mean? So
There's definitely an
boxing's crazy.
inconsistency.
It's super inconsistent.
Definitely an inconsistency.
It makes it
but
so difficult.
It does make it difficult, but it also allows you to, you know, it gives you opportunities that in UFC you don't have. You know, Stitch Duran is famous for basically big fuck you to the UFC when that whole sponsorship thing came through, because it's like people eat from those sponsorships. So now you're telling me I can't put food on the table, you know, in the case of the UFC, because they don't allow those sponsorships on the trunks or, you know, any fighting attire. So
we definitely need structure. This is the last one. New York Bullet says, good morning. What are the best steps to take for someone who is starting from scratch to become a referee?
What are the best steps is, first of all, start off in the amateurs. Work as many amateur shows you can as a judge, referee, timekeeping. Get familiar with all the aspects of the sport, and you'll be surprised how far you'll get.
would you say that you got...
We got a good one came in. Have you ever gone back and watched a replay of the broadcast of a fight you've called? You took some heavy criticism for watch your feet, end quote, between Shakur and an orthodox opponent. Who was that?
See, on that fight right there,
How's it feel for them to know exactly who you are?
put it this way. I was telling Shakur watch his feet because both of them were playing with their feet. Just watch
who
the
was
fight.
he fighting?
Was it Nakatilia?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were both playing feet tags with each other. Both of them.
Stepping on each other's feet.
They were doing it deliberately. Okay? Now, if I would have just say, okay, you guys want to play pity tat with your feet, go for it, and stay quiet and not really say anything about it, then you get these idiot commentators would say, why isn't the referee saying something about the feet?
Why he's not taking control of the fight?
So I had to do what I had to do and say, hey, man, watch the feet, guys. Watch the feet. Because it was just too much of that going on, you know? And the last thing I wanted to do was take a point away from both of them, you know? But they were both doing it. It wasn't just Shakur. The other fighter was doing it too. So, yeah, I took some criticism because you got some commentators that don't know what the hell they're talking about. Because if I wouldn't said anything about it, then they would have criticized me for not saying nothing about it.
Or for not taking control of the fight.
Exactly. So
another phrase in boxing.
So, but those are criticism that, like I said, in this sport, you got to have thick skin, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, these people come up with anything. Hey, why did you let this guy lead too much with the head and this and that? And they don't understand that style makes fights. You know what I'm saying? In that fight with Shakur, Stevenson and Nakatilia, these guys had too much respect for each other. You know what I'm saying? They had too much respect for each other. They weren't going to go in there and slug it out. So they decided to play mind games with the feet. But an average boxing fan won't understand that, you know? Mm-hmm. So I did what I had to do with that fight. And guess what? Yeah, I took some criticism, but it is what it is. I moved on from it, you know?
But you're not on social media like that, right?
No.
So you don't really hear it?
No. I don't, man, listen, man. If I were to start paying attention to people, what they say in social media, forget it. You know, before I had a fight where I cursed at a fighter.
Why?
And people blasted me for that. I would say Teddy Atlas blasted me for that. Okay? He says, oh, the referee used the F-bomb and blah, blah, blah. He's got it in for such and such fight or whatever not. The following week was another ESPN fight where another referee gets in there. He did the same thing I did, but he polished it up for that referee because probably that's his favorite referee or whatever not. And he says, those of you of the audience, this is boxing talk. That's how they speak. That's how boxer understands, blah, blah, blah. He knew exactly where I was coming at. This is how this fighter understand the situation when I had to use watch your effing head, you know? Yeah, I never did that again, but, you know, they got to understand when I was talking to this fighter in the dressing room, man, this dude, he was throwing sofas all over the place. He was like, I would say he was
throwing sofas
all over the place, breaking mirrors. I mean, he was just going crazy. So I was like saying, man, this dude must be on some kind of Roy Range or something like that. He went crazy. So I let him blow off his steam. And then I says, listen, man, you go in that ring. I'm going to take command and I'm going to take charge. And I don't want to be lay up there. I don't want to disqualify you. If I have to, I will. And the guy was from Chicago. And I says, even if you're from Chicago, I'll do what I have to do. I don't care. Because, you know, when I'm in that ring, I don't care who wins. So I took some criticism from Teddy Atlas about that, but yeah, he polished it up for another guy, and that's what's sickening too about these commentators. You know, it's crazy. They have to find something to talk about. You know, so first thing they said, if the fight is boring, if you notice it, when the fight is boring, the commentators will try to say, okay, we got to find something to talk about so that we can keep this audience base going. So they'll talk about the referee. And then the audience, instead of paying attention to the fight, they're stuck and glue on the referee. So
you refereed a lot of good fights. A lot of them I've been in attendance for.
Yeah.
Crawford Benavidez Jr., how was that?
Great fight. That was a great fight, man.
Was it sad seeing Benavidez this Saturday not look anything like that fight?
He held his own, man. He looked good. I mean, it's not like he looked like he was washed up, man.
No, I ain't say that, but he ain't look like that Crawford fight.
No.
I felt like if he would have came in, then that would have been a fight for Danny. He had to push Danny. He was too relaxed. All this machismo, I can't stand.
You were the
like,
third
bro,
man.
let your hands
You
go.
were the third man in the ring for a fight that we love to talk about a lot.
Which one?
Better be Callum Johnson in Chicago.
Oh yeah, we talk about but not for any bad reasons. Just the fact that Callum dropped him.
Yeah, that was like, I think he dropped him in the first round or second. I remember that fight. Yeah, he dropped him, and I tell you what, man, I was close to stopping that fight.
What?
Yeah, man, he was out of it, man, and
and Callum's a puncher. See what I'm saying?
and I decided to say, okay, you know what? Yeah, it was my discretion. I said, I'm gonna let this fight go on. I said, man, you got to show me something, and he did.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Well, that is all of them. If you have any social media that you do want people to find, please give it out at this time. Or if you want to direct them anywhere, maybe amateur show, maybe a referee convention. I don't know.
well, they supposed to have some kind of
Educational website, maybe.
No, I mean, you know what? I'm gonna start creating all that kind of stuff. But right now, I think they're supposed to have some kind of boxing convention here in Vegas. I think right around when Canelo's supposed to fight.
Oh, yeah, Boxing Expo.
Right.
The Boxing Fan Expo. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, since you don't have any social media, we'll go ahead and take this quick intermission, take a picture with you, and be right back with our live audience.
Well, thank you for having me over, man.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Celestino.
What up, YouTube family? Don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get to that 1 million subscribers. We're on the road to 1 million. And obviously, we have other great content on our Patreon channel. So since this video is over, head on over to our Patreon and check out all the exclusive content or right here on our YouTube members.